Good afternoon on what is a cool, grey and overcast day. It is Monday the 29th of August. I have a nice hot cup of tea. And some parcels to unbox. Now, already been into this one, but there's more to pull out from it. Next I am going to have a look at Curse of the Daughterbrides, which is a scenario for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, weird fantasy role-playing game, but obviously suitable for just about any other retro clone you care to name, if you do with the little bit of adjustment here and there. So, let's have a look. Nothing on the back. And inside, okay, well, okay, this does open with author's introduction. It's by James Ruggie himself, and it's dealing with the subject of suicide, because from the top it says suicide is a tricky topic in the media, particularly in those sorts of games that at least attempt to be more immersive, to place the consumers of the media in the middle of situations more than film, music or books. Now, okay, bit of a difficult issue to deal with, as he says. To people who've lost people to suicide or attempted it themselves, or both, will have strong feelings about it being presented as entertainment. Well, yes, perfectly good point. And what I will say, it has to be handled with care. You know, I personally, I mean, this is just, okay, I have lost someone to suicide, someone quite close. And although, you know, I don't find it's in nowhere near a palatable subject matter, I do not think that I am not of the opinion that it cannot be presented in a form of entertainment, as long as it is done the correct way. It is done sensitively, and not to be exploitative or anything of that nature. It might not be something I necessarily want to watch or consume or even play. But if it's done, if it's handled right and sensitively, then I have fewer grounds for objections. Okay, so here's the situation. Something horrible has happened in Demol Green. It was supposed to be the happiest of days, the day of the big festival, the big feast. It was this village's turn to host it this time, and people from all the surrounding villages and beyond were coming to eat, drink, be merry, and most importantly, trade. But in this world, this world won't allow people to be just happy, and will use people to destroy the lives of other people. One Nathan Lidicott was enjoying the early festivities when he encountered the Nancaros, a family led by the patriarch Gabbath. Although Lidicott is a wizard, and therefore transgressing against the laws of nature himself, he became so infuriated at the blasphemy of the Nancaros' very existence that he became driven to use his most potent magic to wipe them from the face of the earth. It didn't work. The spell the wizard cast inexplicably bounced off the Nancaros, mutated into something far more horrifying, and infused the very atmosphere of Demol Green. Nearly everything, save the Nancaros and Lidicott himself, became filled with a latent desire for self-destruction, a desire made manifest when the next group of revellers from the nearby countryside arrived. When the player characters come across Demol Green, whether to partake in the festivities or simply pass through on the way to somewhere else, they too will become ensnared by the horror that will likely end their lives. Okay, now the other particular objection here is, I would see automatically, is the loss of control of agency over your player character. Well, yes, but and the loss of agency or control over the player character's actions in being driven to acts of self-destruction. And that's not an unreasonable complaint, but there are multiple role-playing games where and situations where that does happen. It happens if you play Call of Cthulhu. Insanity can drive you to acts of self-harm. you can have that kind of situation where in Pendragon, okay, the traits will direct you to act in particular ways, not to self-destruction, but the game system will push you in one way or another. The same thing again, kind of in a little bit with the traits in RuneQuest. So it does happen. And the other thing I said essentially is this: if this is the situation, okay, then you have to deal with it sensitively. You have to do like a session 0 with your players and say this is essentially bad things will happen if you have issues you do not want to deal with. Okay, I will not have them in my game. I will not encounter them, and in this instance, you might not want to run the Curse of the Daughterbrides. So, but that said, if you go into the situation, if you play it as written, of course, what you're trying to do is not only deal with the drives towards self-harm, but find a way to lift the curse. You may not succeed, but it's the effort and the storytelling that matters at that point. So here we go into a discussion of Nathan Liddicoat and his curse. The Nancarrows, the ones he actually placed the original spell on, upon which he bounced off, and then we have an extensive Nancarrow family tree, which presumably the player characters will be interacting with. And introduces the Daughterbride character class, probably the most singular, oddest class, essentially. And I don't know what that is, but it's sort of like basically it's the progeny of Daveth Nancarrow and his whatever he is doing that set Nathan Littlecoat off. So, and we have resolving the adventure, running the adventure and resolving it. A couple of short pages, essentially as a one-shot, and so on. Before we really get into the descriptions of the visitors, other than the player characters, of course, and then a location key. Village Green, church, farmhouse, and so on, all around this one village, in Village Green, and the surrounding buildings. Nice, clear, and simple. And descriptions of the various contents and so on. You even have a sort of like a vague slide into the Lovecraftian mythos with Old Man Whately's house, and that's about it for the Curse of the Daughterbrides. So the author himself ran it. I said it says in here he ran it as a one-shot. So whether or not you would run it as in a part of a campaign is another matter. It's an odd little scenario dealing with a potentially insensitive subject matter, and as the referee, you definitely need to approach it in a sensitive manner. So yeah. And presumably that's Daveth Nancarrow himself and all his Daughterbrides. It looks like what we have, is his. It is the question of sort of like, I think whether or not his crimes, have been essentially. Nathan's Livecross spell has basically bounced off him and his crimes and created something immediately worse. So yeah. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing of the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, then I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings of the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box containing one or more books or games, which I will unbox and then chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. then please do hit that subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another Unboxing the Nook. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.